That's quite
Recording in progress.
If you're going to have a hammer, use it, right? This is the Weber County meeting of the Community Reinvestment Agency Commissioners. Welcome. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of May. It's just past 9:45 in the morning. We have a full quorum. We welcome you here, those of you in the audience, our guests. Thank you so much for investing in Weber County. We're glad to have you here and are excited that this will be, I'm excited that you're caring, because this type of stuff will positively affect the grandchildren of my grandchildren. So a long time to come. So really appreciate that. Commissioners, in December of 14th of 2021, we held our last Community Reinvestment Agency meeting. I'm looking for approval to approve those minutes from that meeting. I have a motion from Commissioner Jenkins.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Flora. Place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item C is our public comment portion of this meeting. Is there anyone in the public or online that would like to comment? Seeing none online, none in person, we'll move on to item D like Delta on our agenda, Commissioners. The first action today is discuss and/or action on Chair and Vice Chair of the Community Reinvestment Agency for Weber County. Currently, Commissioners, I'm acting as Chair. I believe that took place because I was Chair the last time this took place. It doesn't matter to me how this goes. We're a team here. So what would you like to do?
I just soon leave it the way it is for one more year.
I'm good with that.
So by acclamation is where you're kind of headed on.
Who's the vice chair?
You.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that takes care of everything till we go into next year, so that's good.
Would you like to make a motion
I
out?
don't think we need to. You are the chair and he is the vice chair.
Mr. Crockett, do we need to out of formality?
It would probably be good to have a motion just for the minutes to reflect that it is for the next year.
2022 and beyond?
Correct.
Well, what if it isn't for the next year? It's just I want to leave it the same way it is.
For clarification of the minutes, I mean, usually these chair appointments go from year to year, and if it's been since last year that we last met, according to the minutes, those terms would have expired. And so I think for just for the members of the public who are in attendance to go back and look at these minutes, to have something that I would recommend that you pass a motion.
He is amused by all this stuff. Let's just let him have his way. It's okay.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we reappoint yourself as chair.
No, sure. No, it's not a four-on chicken. Yeah, something like that.
And Commissioner Gage Flora as vice chair.
And I'll second that,
Thank you.
since that wasn't a formal motion.
It's a discussion under action, so I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Now,
carries.
if you noticed on that motion, there was not a time. I didn't do it for a year or 2 years. I just appointed you.
And
Let the minutes reflect that there is not a time.
it was a beautiful motion.
Gosh. Okay. Moving on to item number 2. Our next is item 2 on our action item is a request for application of a resolution of the Government Board of the Redevelopment Agency of Weber County, designating a survey area and authorizing the preparation of a draft community reinvestment project area plan and budget for the proposed Mount Ogden Community Reinvestment Project. Our presenter today is the greatest Economic Development Director in the land, Ms. Stephanie Russell. Ms. Russell, go ahead.
Commissioners, it's a pleasure to stand before you this morning. I am going to be presenting to you this resolution for adoption. Before we do that, I'd like to have some opportunity for you to hear from the applicant. Jim Hill is going to be talking to you first, and then he'll be followed by Jason Birmingham.
Mr. Hill?
Good
welcome.
morning, Chairman Harvey, Vice Chairman Farrar, Commissioner Jenkins.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. We're delighted to be here, and we appreciate this journey and your support and your consideration here relative to Snow Basin. I'm Vice President of Development for Grand America Hotels and Resorts. It's the parent company of Snow Basin. And we have our all-star team here, several consultants, Jason Birmingham with Lewis Young, Brendan Brown with D.A. Davidson, several participants with East West Partners, and Brent Rose are from legal. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Jason unless you have any questions for me.
I don't have any questions, but I still don't know what a do means.
Français.
Ah, yes, that's.
Thank you. Good morning. Jason Birmingham.
Mr. Birmingham?
Lewis Young, Robertson and Birmingham. I'm a principal and owner. And we've been retained to help pursue and help the process through the community reinvestment area and the agency direction today, as well as the public infrastructure district that is kind of a companion tool that we've discussed in previous meetings. I just express appreciation to the many hours of time and effort that has gone into this. On both from the commissioner's perspective, I know you've taken a lot of time and deliberation to consider the proposed plan and the actions that we're proposing to move forward. And really to your staff, the legal office, as well as Stephanie, and really down to the treasurer, everyone that has really worked on this. It's been a great, tremendous effort. The particular action item that is on your agenda, as was read by the chair, is a resolution authorizing, it's an initiating resolution. So it authorizes the beginning process to create a community reinvestment area. So the agency, by this direction, would allow for a proposed draft project area, plan, and budget. So it would identify a plan for this area and also the budget, which would be tax increment financing that would be used to accomplish or accommodate the plan. It's fairly straightforward at this point. It's more of an initiating resolution. It doesn't bind the county nor the redevelopment agency to the actual creation, but it does move the process forward so that we can consider a plan. You, I should say, could consider a plan and a budget, and if appropriate, you could initiate that and put that in place. It also allows us to start having some additional discussions with other taxing entities who we believe will be partners, such as the school district and some of the other special districts. In the resolution, there's a defined geographic area, which is consistent with the project area that's Area A of the development for the Snow Basin. We've referred to it as, not to get confused maybe with Snow Basin proper or with other terms that might be used up there, we are proposing that this CRA be called the Mount Ogden Community Reinvestment Area. If that were to be adopted ultimately through the plan and budget process, then that's how it would be designated by virtue of the taxing process. And we would go from that perspective. It does allow in the plan, just mention in the plan, it will talk about how the tax increment financing could be used for what specific purposes. Primarily, we're focused on public infrastructure. There are some elements of amenities that would enhance the overall project, which are part of it, but more of a minority of the total funds would be used towards that. So most of this is public infrastructure. We're talking about utilities, water, roadways, things like that that would provide general regional benefit to the area. With that, I think we've reviewed a few of these things in the past, so I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that Stephanie probably will take some time and maybe go specifically through the resolution, but hopefully that was a good introduction to kind of give you an overview of what this framework is. And I'm happy to address any questions. If you
Any
have.
questions for Mr. Birmingham?
None for me, thanks.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Birmingham. Ms. Russell?
Commissioners, the one thing I wanted to point out was that later in the day, in the next meeting, we'll be introducing the Public Infrastructure District. These two financial tools will work together up at Snow Basin in their project. This first creation of the CRA area will look very similar to the first PID that they'll be creating. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that. And if you had any questions about how those two were going to work together, we could answer those today before the PID is introduced to you in the commission meeting. But traditionally, tax increment financing and public infrastructure districts work together in the sense that they are allowed by state statute for the tax increment to go towards the PID bond. So that is another one of the reasons that a lot of this tax increment financing, as Mr. Birmingham stated, would be used for public infrastructure, and it will have a significant regional impact in that area. Do you have any questions regarding the area that's been designated with the map that you were provided?
Commissioners, questions for Ms. Russell?
No, I'm clear on the map, thank you.
Okay. Any questions about the resolution in general?
Not I.
Okay.
Not I. Not I.
I'm good to go.
Great.
All right.
Whenever you're ready for a
Fantastic.
motion, Mr. Chair.
One moment, please. Mr. Brandt, resolution number on this would be?
I got it right here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead then. Sure enough.
You ready for a motion?
I am ready for a motion.
Didn't want to rush you.
No, you're not rushing me. You're good.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve Resolution 25-2022, which authorizes the governing board of the redevelopment agency of Weber County, designating a survey area as presented on the map, authorizing the preparation of a draft community reinvestment project area plan and budget for the proposed Mount Ogden Community Reinvestment Project. I'd like to make a comment, if I could, Mr. Chair.
Please.
So I just would like to thank, obviously,
What was that? Give me that again.
the Grand America, Jim Hill and his team have been very good to work with. I think we started discussions over 2.5 years ago. It seems like it anyway. And I would say the detail that's been put forth in this project, the preparation, has been extraordinary on both Grand America's part and also the county's part. If I can give a handout to Chris Crockett. As we looked, we're fairly familiar with TIFs and dealt with that a lot in the past, but with the PID being fairly new in terms of public infrastructure development, we've had to, as a county, look at this very carefully, and I think we've crafted, and I hope you would agree with this, crafted a policy going forward because of you that will benefit, again, our kids and grandkids and future developments. So again, I appreciate your patience. I know it hasn't always been sometimes as fast or move as quickly, but I think we have an end product that's good. So thank you.
Very good. I'll accept that motion. Is there a second?
I will second that, and I will also want to thank you, gentlemen, for your patience with us, and I'm excited about this development in the future of Snow Basin, and this is it. So, thank you.
Before I place that motion for vote, I want to thank in advance Roger Brunker, who will be working a lot. Ricky, if you'd mention that to him. Chris Crockett, your team, you and your team, thank you very much. Stephanie, you and your team. And also Sean Wilkinson, who's not here, he and his team. We just got here Weber County, this is a great thing. Mr. Brandt?
How many people does Steph have on her team?
Well, she meets with all the leaders, and she's got an economic development team.
I just wondered.
We're lean and mean.
Yeah.
That's right, lean and mean. One.
We're all a team.
That's right.
Any other comments you'd like to make before I call for the vote? Mr. Brandt?
Okay, roll call vote for Resolution 25-2022. Commissioner Faur?
Aye.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye. Thank you very much. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion for item E like echo.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Adjourned.
We'd like to open this meeting today. This is the Weber County Board of Commissioners. Dated today, May 3rd, Tuesday at 10 a.m. We welcome you all here today and those on Zoom. The meeting will start today with a Pledge of Allegiance by Stephanie Russell. Marty Smith is doing the opening invocation, and the thought of the day will be by me, Commissioner Dean. So, Stephanie?
All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One other?
He's got that scooter down.
Our Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to meet today in this public meeting. We're thankful for the wonderful community in which we live and its great citizens. We're especially thankful for our liberties and our freedoms. We ask a blessing on this meeting today, that this commission body can make the best decisions in the interest of our citizens. And we pray for those less fortunate, for those that are under siege and conflict, for peace. We pray for rain, and we say these things in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Marty. He's fast. Look at him singing around there.
Boy.
That's one of them Italian model scooters.
I'll go quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Well, very good. I'm actually prepared today.
Wow.
That's hard to
Wow.
believe, isn't it?
Wonderful.
You know, in 1908, on May 10th, there was a lady named Anna Jarvis of the first official Mother's Day celebrated through a service at the St. Andrews. No, they don't. I want to sit back and relax. At the St. Andrews Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia, on May 10th in 1908. Well, you know, it was a struggle to make that day. They started in 1868 with her and her mother. They organized committees to do a Mother's Friendship Day. They went on later on to do a Children's Day, a Temperance Day, a Roll Call Day, a Decision Day, a Missionary Day, and others. So it's gone on and on. Several years later, a Mother's Day observance was done on May 13th in 1877 in Michigan. Anyway, in the end, in its present form, Mother's Day was established by Anna Jarvis with the help of the Philadelphia mercantile John Wanamaker following the death of her mother, Anna Jarvis, on May 9, 1905. And Jarvis mentioned how on Mothering Day she mentioned and a connection to the Protestant school celebrations and claimed the celebration of Mother's Day was hers alone. Anyway, in 1907 at St. Andrew's Methodist Episcopal Church in Grafton, Virginia, where Anna's mother had been teaching Sunday school, the first official service of worship on that day was held. And then on May 10th, 1908, that was the official making of that. Then, on May 10th, 1913, U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution calling on all federal governments to officially wear a white carnation the following day and observe Mother's Day on May 8th, 1914. Then later on, under President Woodrow Wilson, it was changed to the second Sunday in May. And then later on, Franklin Delano Roosevelt approved a stamp commemorating the day. And finally, in May of 2008, which was just not many years ago.
No.
Were you a commissioner then?
No.
You've been a long time. Me and Gage are late. Johnny's come lately. Anyway, the House of Representatives voted twice on a resolution commemorating Mother's Day. The first one being passed without a dissenting vote, and the St. Andrew's Methodist Church was where the first celebration was held, is now the International Mother's Day Shrine and is a National Historical Landmark. So there you go. That's Mother's Day. So, I don't know about you guys. My mother's dead. I imagine yours is, Gage. Is your mother still alive, Commissioner Harvey? Well, so for us, we're celebrating this, and our mothers have passed. It doesn't mean we think less of them, does it? And if anything, maybe a little more. Yeah, and so we wish them a Mother's Day along with all of our mothers here today, and that's my thought of the day.
That's good. Appropriate timing.
Yeah, appropriate timing. I'm trying to keep up with Commissioner Frohr here. He always comes with, he's ready, set, and he hits them out of the park.
Yeah, he sure does.
And all I do is come in and bumble. But anyway.
Wonderful. That's
very good.
Good to tell you.
All right, thank you. We will now move to item E on our agenda, which is public comment. If there's anybody here who would like to get up and address the commission, now would be the time to do it. We'd appreciate it if you'd hold your comments to related items on the agenda. And the time is now yours. Don't hold back. Very good. I see nobody getting up, so we'll close public comments and go to consent items. The consent items today are requests for approval of the warrants that are listed for $3,410,751. Request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $437,455. Request for approval of the minutes for the meeting held on April 26, 2022. Request for approval of new beer licenses. And number 5 is a request for the Weber Morgan Health Department for approval to surplus computers and computer equipment. Commissioners, any question on that?
None for me.
None from me, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Mr. Ricky Hatch, would you like to give us a synopsis of the payments?
I'd love to, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. We issued 15 purchase orders this week for $437,000. 41% of that amount, or $180,000, is for the roads department to purchase chip and tack oil. 26%, or $114,000, is for dispatch, and that's a warranty for a logging recorder. 13%, or $55,000, is for the library, and that will go towards purchasing computer equipment, and then some towards an embroidery machine. 8%, or $34,000, is for IT, which is for public defender computer equipment. As far as warrants, we issued 115 warrants this week for $3.4 million. 3/4 of that amount, $2.5 million, was transportation funds reimbursing Ogden for the construction on 26th Street. 11%, or $379,000, is for the jail, which was mostly nursing services, but also some food and some counseling. And then 6%, or $209,000, was ramp awards to the Ogden Eccles Dinosaur Park, and to the Good Company, and to the Ogden Hispanic Festival.
Very good. Thank you, Ricky.
Welcome.
So, you know, last night in our WACOG meeting, they talked about the easy ramp, smaller awards.
She's here again today.
Oh, she is here. In fact, she's on the agenda coming up. I'm not going to say anything else.
That's coming up.
Anyway, it's pretty cool to see all that.
It is.
Well, okay. With that, I'm ready for a motion on consent items.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Consents are approved. Very good. First action item today is Weber County Easy Ramps. Carla Woodward. We thank you for being here today. I was just going to talk about you.
Please do. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Thanks for letting me come and speak today. I know you guys heard this last night, but we'll do it again for old time's sake.
Great.
We have 55 grants, easy grants, that we're submitting for commission approval. They total $105,000 and some change. We were able to move some money that hadn't been spent in our previous majors, arts and museums, and parks and recs, to help fund an additional $45,000, so additional projects for easy grants. And as you remember, these are smaller projects. The maximum that they can apply for is $2,000. So some of the things that I think are particularly exciting, we're going to have some more American flags out. We've got a Veterans Day thing that we're helping to support. There's new banners going along 12th Street for Ogden Nature Center. There's new trail park benches going out, so just a lot of really, really fun things to be able to see in the community. Do you guys have any questions about any of the projects or anything you've seen?
Commissioner?
I do have a question not related to this year's projects,
Okay.
but between you and Shelley, you'll be answering this. So years ago, really, when the first chair, Candidae Sesashari, started with the Recreation Arts Museum and Parks, or RAMP Fund, the voters voted to do this in our community to help fix up a number of those things. To date, how much money has been invested in our community because of that?
I actually have that. It's like 300. I don't know for sure. I do have it. I can give you the number. It's up in the office.
Oh, I thought you, okay.
Well, I can say this year was $6 million almost, so that's a lot, yeah.
Like $3 million is typical for every year. The last year was $4 million, and this year was $6. But before that, I would say $3 million per year is the average.
So north of $50 million likely. So you can just, for our guests here, that's the type of feeling our community chooses to put back into its area. So it's unlike any other based on our population. It's just a great community that's interested in those four things.
Can I add to that also that we ask that people come with a match, and many come with a 50% match. So if you times that 50 million plus, then you've got 100 million that's gone into the community because of RAMP.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You bet. Commissioner Frohr, any comment you'd like to make?
Well, just so I looked at the list last night. It's presented to WACOG, and it's great to see these $2,000 grants go as far as
We want to thank you, dear fellow
Absolutely.
board members who administrate this, who sit and weigh through it, and I mean weigh through this. You hold those meetings in our office upstairs, so we get to walk by and watch you in there. And you guys spend hours and hours and hours,
Days and days.
going through this and deciding and ranking them and putting them in your the levels you feel like they all should be in.
Then they go out on site, and then they go out
Oh,
and
yeah,
do tours.
I
and
know. They do
it's a ton of
tours.
time.
We see Shelley make up these individual boxes for each of them to put all their stuff in. There's so much. And I just can't thank you enough for your effort and your compassion and your devotion to this project and this process. This is really speaks to what you guys choose to do, and we thank you for that. We just want you to know it. You guys mean a lot to us.
Well, thank you so very much. The board will be meeting one more time. We do close up, and we have kind of a debrief and talked about things that we can do to make this process easier for our applicants and make it better for us. So I'll definitely pass everyone's thanks along with that. Everybody on the board is very, very dedicated to RAMP, and you can tell.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
We do have a few online today as well, just so you're aware.
That want to comment?
No, they're just here to support
Yeah,
RAMP.
that's good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, with that, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve the items that was listed by Ms. Woodward today for those easy grants.
And I'm happy to second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second for the easy grants. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, they pass. Thank you. Very good. Item 2 today is Resolution 26-2022 of Weber County initiating the creation of a governing document for the proposal of the Mount Ogden Public Infrastructure District Number 1. Ms. Stephanie Russell.
Commissioners, we've had a slight amendment to this resolution. It will be the initiating creation of the governing documents for proposed Mount Ogden Public Infrastructure Districts Number 1, 2, and 3. You should receive a updated copy of that resolution.
Very good. Questions?
Fantastic. We received a letter of intent as well as the petitions. So we're at the phase of this PAD process where we will do the initiating resolution, and that would give the committee as the authorization to start creating those governing documents that would govern all 3 PIDs.
Commissioners, we've been through this many, many times.
Yeah.
Commissioner Farrar, this is in your portfolio.
I'm happy to make a motion when you're ready.
I'm ready.
So just so we clarify this, Stephanie, so this
Absolutely.
basically includes, on our agenda, it said District Number 1, but that would be District 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, we haven't, yeah.
And the resolution correctly,
I have a, corrected resolution
okay.
for
All right,
you to
just-
sign.
Same number.
Yes,
Same resolution.
Just confirming that.
yes,
Okay.
thank you.
That being verified, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion for approval of Resolution 26-2022, the County Commission initiating the creation of the governing documents, the proposal Mount Ogden Public Infrastructure Districts Number 1, 2, and 3, as signified in the resolution as presented by Ms. Stephanie Russell this morning.
Second that.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brandt?
Okay, roll call vote for Resolution 26-2022. Commissioner Farrar?
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye.
Chair Jenkins?
Aye. Thank you. Thanks, Steph. We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Commissioners.
Very good. Item number 3, request for approval of contract by and between Weber County and the Pictometry International, providing the ability to log in and access the Pictometry hosted custom imagery libraries. Whew, John Uleberry.
What does that mean?
He's not here.
Look at that, though.
Well, hello.
Dee Dee, we'll turn it over to you.
Hi, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What this is just our aerial imagery that we get. There's 2 contracts we have. This is the one for the connection, so we can go in and view all our imagery online. So we just need to approve it so we can continue using our aerial imagery for our reappraisal and all our appraisal work that we need to do. First time presenting, so if I mess up, you let me know.
Can you tell me what is pictometry?
It's aerial imagery that we use.
Aerial imagery. Very
Yeah.
good. Questions, Commissioners?
I have.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Harvey.
Since this is Dee Dee's first time presenting,
Go ahead. Make me just sweat a little more. Thank you.
I was going to go take one turn, but I'm going to take another. I want you to know personally how grateful I am for her and her leadership, her work ethic, her team, her example, her exactness in what she does. She's an encyclopedia of information. We at Weber County are so lucky to have her, and I'm so grateful for what she does to help our citizenry. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. Make me cry.
Very good. Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
Libraries is under your portfolio.
that we approve this contract between Weber County and Pictometry International for providing the ability for those hosted custom image libraries.
And I'll second that.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. It passes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Item 4 today is a request for approval of contract between Weber County and the Wasatch Pony Club to hold Golden Spike horse trials at the Golden Spike Event Center.
Mario Andretti will be presenting today.
Here he comes now. I can hear him coming. Mr. Marty Smith. You might as well get that thing good and straight because you're going to be here a while.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate you letting me fill in for Duncan. I'm the older, fatter, grayer version of him. So, if you'll notice, items 4, 5, and 6 are pretty much identical on the agenda today. We're just looking for approval contracts with the Wasatch Pony Club. Really, they're paying the full rate with the exception of we make a concession on the track and trade for sponsorship. They'll put our name out there on their event. But it's important to note that the Wasatch Pony Club does a lot of work, really the majority of the work on the course out there at the fairgrounds. So just looking for approval of these contracts today for there's the horse trials, and then as you'll see, number 4 is the spring chicken event, and number 5, the great pumpkin event.
Very good. So I'm going to call all these right in a row. Is there?
Number 6, the great pumpkin.
Do you want me to comment?
Yeah. So would you like to comment? That's where I was going.
So the Wasatch Pony Club, the horse trials, is one that brings in people from all across the Intermountain area for English-style riding. For those listening in or maybe listening in later, it's the Christopher Reeve, the horse jumping, that type of a thing. The Great American Chicken and the Great American Pumpkin are weekend events that they don't have quite the participation, but you're seeing here the 3 events that they have on an annual basis out there at the cross-country, which is that cross-country course should be noted is an Olympic qualifying quality course for this equestrian use. And so, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve items number 4, 5, and 6 in that particular order: Wasatch Pony Club's horse trials, the Golden Spike horse trials, the Great American Chicken, and then the Great American Pumpkin. Excuse me, what do they call that now? Spring Chicken.
Spring chicken and great pumpkin.
They've renamed that since they've closed the Morgan best restaurant in town up there. The Spring Chicken event and the Great American Pumpkin.
Very good. I have a motion.
Second.
And I have a second.
Wow.
No comment for me, so we'll call it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
We say aye, aye, aye.
Thank you.
Aye, aye, aye.
Aye, aye, aye. They all pass. So Craig, on your motion, on your minutes, you got that, right? That we passed all 3 of them.
Aye, aye, aye.
Item 4, item 5, and item 6. Very good. Item 7, request for approval of contract by between Weber County and Saddlewood Estate subdivisions for reimbursement of certain costs incurred in the sewer development, which exceeds the cost related to the sewer development for Saddlewood. With that, we're going to go to Tucker Wade. Tucker, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We appreciate you being here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. So we've talked about this in some work session meetings. We've had the developers in, kind of hashed it out with you guys, and put this agreement together. I guess a little background. So the reason we have this agreement is they have to bring the sewer in from the long ways, and there's already existing subdivisions. So in order to get sewer there, it's hard to do and expensive. So, and we asked them to lay the sewer as deep as possible and as flat as possible so we can service more areas in the future. And with that area that it can serve now, anyone who connects to the sewer will have to pay this fee per ERU, which is $380 per ERU. And then they'll make payments to us, and then we'll reimburse the developers for their off-site improvements costs. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Questions, commissioners?
No, I think we've talked about this a few times during work sessions, so.
In our work session, I think we've got this pretty much vetted.
I agree.
Well, Commissioner Faur, you want to make a motion?
I'd move to approve Agenda Item 7, approval of the contract by and between Weber County and Saddlewood Estate Subdivision for reimbursement of certain costs incurred for sewer development, which exceeded the cost related to the sewer development for Sandalwood developments.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. So Tucker, I do have one question before I call the vote. Is this for 10-year agreement, 10 years?
In this agreement, it's 15.
15 years.
Yes. If you remember, we talked about that. I think usually we want 10, but in past agreements that we've done, it's been 15. So like I said, the precedent's kind of set, and so we.
Okay, I just want to. We went back and forth on that. I just want to make sure you know. Very good. I'll call it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. It passes. Thanks, Tucker. Very good. Commissioners, do you have any comments before we adjourn this meeting?
I do.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Harvey.
I'm grateful for mothers, whether they have children or not. I'm grateful for those that I believe their natural tendencies that come that are instilled in them, and I really appreciate their example in my life, and so many of the gals that weren't necessarily my biological mother but took care of me when I was young and still do as I'm a little older. But I especially want to give recognition to the mother in our home, my wife, who's such a fantastic example of what a great matriarch is, and I sure love and appreciate her for that. Thank you.
You bet. Very good. Any comments, Commissioner Faur, from you?
Well, I would just make one. So it was great to see this last couple of weeks we've had some help in our drought conditions, and with the rain, and had a little snow above about 200 feet above the valley floor last night. So that means that up in the mountains, hopefully they got a little more than that, which is great if we see that snowpack.
Yeah.
I think that snowpack, as long as we can increase that. We know we're not going to be out of the woods, but this time of year, if we can get those rains and a little bit of snow, it's going to save some of that water going into our lawns and fields, et cetera. So I'm optimistic. It's great to see this happen.
Well, I agree with you. In fact, out where I lived last night, it must have rained for 2.5, 3 hours, and fairly hard. I mean, I sat there in bed. I sleep by an open window, so I could sit there in bed, and that downspout was running water for a long time. Even got up one time, walked outside to look at it. It was pretty cool. So we had a good storm out in Plain City. And any of this winter grain that came up this spring, man, it's just eating this up right now.
That's what it needs right now.
Yeah, this has been a good storm. And if we're blessed, we've got another one coming this weekend.
Saturdays, if possible.
Yeah. So I tell you, this has been a wonderful spring so far, wet and moist, and we need this.
Cool.
In the worst way. So thank you, Commissioner Faur. That's great. Well, with that, I'm going to call it then. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.